Okay, we're recording. Good morning, everybody. My name is Janelle. I'm from the Career Development Center, and I'd like to introduce one of your colleagues, Dr. Haydick from Sport Management. We want to say good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we are here today just to tell you very briefly about the Career Development Success and Exploration Certificates and how Dr. Haydick introduces and incorporates those into her classes. But before we get into that, I just want to show you very quickly what the two career certificates entail. So as you'll see on one of our web pages, the CDC certificate page, we would come into your class, we would show this to your students, but I just want to show you what those 7 items are. This is the freshman sophomore certificate. They have to attend 4 workshops and complete 3 activities. And again, we come in, we explain everything, we tell the students where they are. Right now, as of March 2nd in 2021, all of this is still as an option online, so it still can be done completely virtually. In the past, we had done it in person, but frankly, we're not sure moving forward how it will go. Junior seniors certificate is the success certificate. They would attend 5 workshops. There's a pick one category. Maybe a student wants to go to a job fair. Maybe they are more interested in moving on to graduate school. So there's some options for the different types of things after undergrad. And then they would complete 2 activities. So this is just the general gist of those opportunities that are available for freshman, sophomore, and junior, senior. But the real reason why we're here today is to ask Dr. Haydick about her involvement in her classes, because she's been the one that's been most long-standing of doing it. So Dr. Haydick, how do you incorporate it into your classes, and which classes are they?
In my health class, which is Introduction to Health and Wellness, I have the students do 4 out of the required 7 tasks. And we look in health not just at the physical dimension of health, but at the whole person. And so as a student, beginning with the end in mind and developing that whole student, I like to add this as actually a course requirement for them. And the way I do it, they only have to do 4 out of the 7. And over the years, I've learned not to just say do 4 out of the 7. I have task 1 due at a certain time, task 2 due at a certain time. And that keeps students on task.
Yeah, absolutely. It keeps them on track so that they don't wait until the very end.
Right. And we know when students wait till the very end, then they get little out of something. So this way, when they're forced to do something earlier on in the semester, my hope is that that spark of interest is lit, and they will not only do the 4, but they might actually do all 7.
Absolutely.
Now, I also, if they have done this in another class, I give them credit for it, as long as it's their current requirements.
Yeah, that they've done it in the freshman, sophomore year or junior, senior year.
Right.
It
and
corresponds.
What I do in my freshman seminar is the strength finders.
Mm-hmm.
And with the strength finders, they do an assessment.
Mm-hmm.
And then Janelle comes into the class and works with them on their strengths. And I have found that to be very helpful for my new freshmen.
They need that. And frankly, that assessment, the Strengths Finder, can count as the assessment piece for the certificate. So that kind of does, I don't want to say double dips, but it does give them that credit for maybe another class down the road. Yeah. So that's awesome. We have had faculty who have required them to do 4, 3, 1 for extra credit. I have had faculty who have given extra credit points for each of the 7. So they didn't necessarily require all 7, but they said, hey, if you do 4 of them, I'll give you 4 extra credit points. So it has worked in a variety of ways. And I think that's where the conversation between us and the faculty member to make it fit into your class. So that's been great. Thanks. What have you found to be the value of the career certificates to your students? Not necessarily maybe you, but what the students have gained from it.
Well, I think it's a kick in the pants almost to students, that they really do have to start thinking about their future now, that they don't wait until they're seniors to write their first resume. or there's a difference between the resume that they wrote when they were a senior in high school and even one that they will write when they're a freshman in college. So I think it's helpful for them to realize that getting a career is different than getting a job.
Mhm.
I don't know if I said that right, but
Yeah, you did.
and that thinking about it early and actually doing something towards that goal is helpful.
Absolutely. And sometimes even if it's just making them realize they need to check their email on a regular basis.
That's a dream come true.
That would be a dream come true. And frankly, we as the Career Center then reach out to those students who are registered for the certificate to remind them of upcoming things. And sometimes we have to say, hey, we've emailed you many times about this. And that has become kind of a career readiness building that we've used. So thanks. And then the last piece, and frankly, I want you to answer this question as opposed to me telling your peers about it. How do you receive the information about what the students have completed from the Career Center?
Easy peasy. Like I said, I have these due dates throughout the semester, not all at once. And about a week before the first due date, I ask for an update. And Janelle just sends me a spreadsheet of who did what. And then I let students know that I updated their grade. And if they have a big fat 0, they should do something about it. And if they've done something and didn't get credit for it, then I just say, talk to Janelle. So it's so liberating for me when I get these emails. I don't know. Talk to Janelle. Talk to Janelle, and she takes care of them right away. So it's not an extra burden on my part, although I do remind students, just like the Career Center is reminding students. So I just am heartbroken when they say, I didn't know about this. I don't know. I think that's an indicator that there's other things going on as well.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely the work is on our end of the certificate. We created it that way so that faculty could easily incorporate it into a class because we know the value of it. And I think depending upon how a faculty incorporates it into their class, we can provide those updates monthly, like we do for Dr. Haydick, or at the very end. You know, just to say, hey, here's the very end of it. Some people will want a midway point update. And the one thing we have to remind students is that this is a manual process. We're inputting these one by one on our end because they want it just to magically appear in D2L, and that doesn't happen. But that's, again, a learning process, and that's okay. So, Dr. Haydick, I appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much.
Happy to help.
All right. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too.